Savory, sweet, with a kiss of smoke. These aren't your average southern barbecue ribs, but the big kahuna, Hawaiian barbecue known as Kalbi. Easy to make, cook in a matter of minutes, flavorful, and tender. Just don't mistake it for traditional Korean Galbi or LA Galbi, because you'd be wrong and missing out on some seriously ono grinds. Aloha! Today we're plating up Hawaiian-style plate lunch, barbecue short ribs, or Kalbi. Growing up in Hawaii during the 80s, I learned a couple things about beef. One, being asked, "What, like beef?" was sadly not a cordial invitation to a steak dinner. And two, Hawaii was serving up a unique and ono version of Korean Galbi as part of the local plate lunch scene that would only set you back $5. $5. I can't be the only one wishing for 1.21 gigawatts in a DeLorean right about now. Traditionally, Korean Galbi uses a thick 3 to 6 inch long English cut of beef short rib where the meat is butterflied and scored before marination. The meat is served raw, where you cook your own food during the dining experience, and is often accompanied by samjang, and various banchan to customize and enhance the meal. However, this Hawaiian version uses a 1/4 inch to a 1/3 inch cut across the bones, known as a flanken-style cut. I always assumed that this cut was unique to Korean barbecues in Hawaii, but more recently I've learned that this particular cut traces its roots to the Korean community in Los Angeles with their version of LA Galbi. And I have no beef with that claim. Regardless, Hawaiian Kalbi has evolved into its own thing. While LA Galbi is seasoned and served just like traditional Galbi, Hawaii's version is seasoned more boldly and leans sweeter, so it's more flavorful, only requiring some rice and mac salad to make it a meal. So today I'm going to show you how to make this unique and delicious Hawaiian version of Korean Galbi at home, saving you thousands of dollars in travel and lodging expenses, plus whatever a plate lunch costs today in Hawaii.
What can I say except you're welcome?
For this recipe, you'll need about 3 pounds of flanken-style cut short ribs. Often, you'll find these frozen at your local Korean market, but I've seen these thawed at American grocery stores and big box stores as well. The first thing I like to do is trim my ribs, but you can skip this step if you want. There's a thin membrane under the rib bones that I like to remove because it's not going to break down and it's not really great eats if you're a member of the Clean Bones Club. 2. Since I'm Korean, I like to give my ribs a little cosmetic surgery by removing any excess fat, since it's not going to render out given the short cook time. Now, whether you get your short ribs frozen or thawed, you should always wash them. Remember, these ribs are cut on bandsaws, so there's going to be a good chance they'll have bone dust or bone fragments on them. Not only is that chalky grittiness texturally unpleasant, but I've actually chipped my tooth on a bone fragment once, so don't say I didn't warn you. Just rinse them off under some running water in the sink while gently rubbing them with your hands. Make sure to work the bones a little more in case there are any loose fragments. Once your ribs are clean, place them on a cookie sheet with paper towels to dry out, as all that excess moisture will just inhibit the marination process. While the beef is drying out, let's work on the marinade that will also tenderize this tough cut of beef. Much like diamonds with the wife after you've forgotten your anniversary. Again, I've never done that. That's just what I've heard. Now, if you've ever cooked short ribs, you already know how much time and energy it takes to coax tenderness out of this cut of beef. Given our short cook time, we're going to need the help of 2 special ingredients. The first being a Korean or Asian pear. It not only adds that authentic, traditional Korean flavor profile, but also contains enzymes that will slowly tenderize the meat. Korean or Asian pears can be hard to find and expensive even when you do, so feel free to substitute with a red apple or a bosch pear. While the enzymes in the pear will help to slowly tenderize the meat, the real heavy enzymatic activity will be done by either the addition of pineapple or kiwi. You don't need a lot of this potent pineapple, but it should be fresh because canned pineapples are cooked, and cooking destroys the enzyme bromelain, which is heat sensitive. If you can't find a small serving of pineapple chunks in your local grocery store, and you don't want to bother dealing with a whole pineapple, feel free to substitute with half a kiwi. Kiwis contain a protease enzyme called actinidin, which isn't as potent as bromelain, but will more than certainly get the job done. And you'll need a small annyeonghaseyo, roughly chopped, 6 to 8 cloves of garlic, and a 1-inch knob of peeled ginger, roughly sliced. Throw all of this into a blender, add the mirin and rice wine, and puree. If you don't have a blender, feel free to use a knuckle grater and just finely mince the garlic and ginger, or use a microplane to grate them. Transfer the pureed mixture to a bowl, add the shoyu, brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of sesame oil, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of beef tashira, which is just Korean beef bouillon with the magical seasoning goodness, also known as MSG. Add 2 finely chopped green onions and whisk thoroughly. Give it a taste. It should be salty and savory, but with a good sweet backbone. Add enough marinade to just cover the bottom of a non-metallic 9x13 container. Lay down a layer of short ribs. Cover with more marinade and repeat. Now cover with plastic wrap while gently pressing the plastic wrap directly onto the surface of the meat. This will just help ensure the marinade stays where it's supposed to so that it does its job properly. If you have any leftover marinade, refrigerate that as well for basting later, but it's not necessary. You could technically marinate these for just 2 to 3 hours, but 12 hours to overnight will really maximize the flavor and tenderness. Take the meat out of the fridge at least an hour before you plan to cook them. Now I'm going to show you 3 different ways you can cook your Hawaiian-style kalbi. Grilling, on the stovetop, and in the oven. For grilling, I like to use a charcoal grill for a little additional smoky flavor, but you can easily do this on a gas grill as well. For my charcoal grill, I prefer a 2-zone setup with one side of direct heat and the other side with indirect heat for better heat control. Once the grill is ready, around 400 to 450 degrees Fahrenheit, I place my ribs on the indirect heat side, then rotate the grilling rack over to the hot side. After a minute, or if I'm seeing too much charring, I'll flip the ribs over onto the cool side of the rack and baste with the reserved marinade. Then rotate the rack over to the hot side again and repeat. It should only take you 6 minutes or 6 rotations to cook a rib. If you're cooking for a large crowd and need to cook more ribs at once, or you have a gas grill, feel free to skip the 2-zone setup and just make sure you're flipping and basting the ribs every 30 to 60 seconds. It should still take you about 2 to 3 minutes per side. To cook on a stovetop, place your ribs in a single layer into a cold nonstick pan. Add a tablespoon or 2 of water, then turn the heat up to medium-high. Once you see the liquid start boiling, flip your ribs every minute or so. When all the liquid has reduced to a syrup and just beef fat, reduce the heat to medium and continue to flip the ribs every 30 seconds until you get the caramelization you like. It should take about a total of 7 to 8 minutes per batch of ribs. Finally, cooking under a broiler. Set your oven rack about 6 inches from the top of the broiler. Set the oven broiler to high and give it a good half hour to preheat. Meanwhile, line a cooking tray with aluminum foil, as it'll make cleanup a lot easier when you're done. Place a cooking rack in the tray if you've got one. Arrange the ribs on top of the rack. Drizzle with a little neutral oil over the top of the meat and place in the oven under the broiler. Flip the ribs after 5 minutes or sooner if you begin to see some charring. Again, add a little bit of oil, give it another 5 minutes on the other side, and repeat a minute per side until you reach the ideal color or doneness. All pal, I think you know what time it is. Now, when I lived in Hawaii, every plate lunch came with 2 scoops rice, 1 scoop mac salad. And honestly, I think that's all you need. But if you can get your hands on some kimchi, you'll just level up your experience. Now, there's no right way or wrong way to eat these. Choose your weapon, or you can just go old school. Did you see that bite? Come on, this is some competition ribs right here. That marinade is bulletproof. I mean, if you tried to cook short ribs without a marinade right on the grill, it'd be like chewing leather. Listen, there was no trick photography there. You have got to try this recipe for yourself. You will not be disappointed. Not only will it be tender, but it'll be absolutely delicious no matter how you cook them. Whether you decide to grill them outside, cook them on the stovetop, or broil them in the oven. You're in for a delicious and absolutely authentic Hawaiian-style kalbi. When I was growing up in Hawaii, me and my teenage friends were angels, so we never drank. Beer anyways. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any old Dusseldorf or Coops or Primo beer, but I did find a Hawaiian lager. And by the way, cleaning your bones is totally acceptable. Chance them. I do, but I also chipped a tooth, so. Anyways, if you made it this far in the video, thank you and mahalo. As always, I hope you liked the video, and more importantly, this recipe. You have seriously got to try it. And you might have noticed there's a little mac salad in there, and I have a video on making that too if you want an authentic Hawaiian mac salad. If you did like this video, I hope you'll give it a like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification. Until next time, eat well and be well. And here's to wishing you many more memorable food adventures. All right, please don't let me chip another tooth.